We have a John Deere 624K with an issue with the F&R switch, which is the selector on the steering column right there that switches the gears. So I have a new F&R switch, but I don't want to just throw it on, so let me take you through the diagnostics, show you what I do. So I'm going to show you how to do this without hooking up the John Deere computer. You can hook up the John Deere computer, but I'm going to show you how to do that through the monitor. So oil pressure is flashing because the engine is not running, and that's why it's got this stop light and all this stuff flashing. Engine's not running, so that's why there's no oil pressure. So first thing is right here on the main screen. See what says neutral, 1, 2, 3, drive manual. So if I flip it into reverse, you can hear the backup alarm. So that means it's working that way. Go forward, but see how it still says neutral? Now I'm switching through the gears. Oh, second, third, drive. Okay, so it's not getting a forward signal, but it's getting a reverse signal. So then let me check the codes. Just push this button here, codes, push the button again, active codes. So there is no active codes. So let's go to stored codes. So there's a first F&R open circuit. Here's the code number. First, last, and the current hour. So the current hours and the last are the same, so that means this has just happened. It has 61 occurrences. So let me pull the steering column apart here just to see if maybe there's a broken wire or something in here and it's not getting the forward signal. So I was just here messing with it, and now look, it stopped working. Forward, backup alarm doesn't come on, none of the switches change. See how it's not going from first? So it's definitely this shifter. I don't think it's wiring now because you can tell it's intermittently not working. These are super simple to change. There's 6 screws. There's actually one missing here. There's 3 on that side. There's 3 on this side. And then there's 2 4mm hex. There's one here and there's one on the other side. And then the wiring harness is probably, the wire plug is probably down here somewhere. I got the panels off and the wire is just right here. And then it just comes into these 2 connectors. So I got the old trusty Icon flush cuts, which these have actually turned out to be pretty good for being as cheap as they were. So let's get this cut, and then let me figure out which harness it is. Oh, there's another one right here. There we go. And then yeah, it's both of them. So just unhook them, and then I think one's a male, one's a female, so you can't mix them up. Yeah, see, one's a male. Oh, see, one's a male, one's a female, so you can't mix them up. And then, how does this thing come off of here? One is a male, one is a female, so you can't mix them up, but I gotta take this little bracket off because it's not on the new one. These are unique in the 2 bolts hold the turn signal also, so they kind of sandwich, so just be aware. When you take these 2 bolts out, hold on to this because it'll fall off the column. Got the new one on, got all the connectors attached. I got to get some zip ties and zip tie this, but I'm going to test it a whole bunch of times before I put all this back together just to make sure it's working right. Okay, so it's all tested, it's all working good. There's one more thing I want to show you what I always do. So I always go into here after I'm done with this, into service menu, codes, check. Okay, so this code is still stored. Go back. Whoops, wrong direction. Make sure that no active codes. So I always go down and clear the codes, because there's been times where I've not cleared a code and an operator starts messing around in here, gets into stored codes, and there's a whole list of codes in here that are 200-300 hours old, and he complains, or we have to come out and look at a machine with all these stored codes that are, the last code was 200 hours ago. So I always clear the stored codes because it just helps prevent a headache down the road. All zip tied back together. And guys, flush cut your zip ties. Don't be a dick. Don't use diagonal cutters. And I know it's inside this column, but still, these flush cutters from Icon aren't that expensive. I'll link them down below. Just flush cut them. That way the next person doesn't cut themselves, or you don't cut yourself. Okay, these aren't that expensive. Well, the steering column's all back together. I just gotta let the operator know that this one's done, ready to go. Pack up my tools and on to the next job. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe.